This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart personally. Honestly, because I am a fan of the WNBA. Not straight up. Because I am a fan of the WNBA. I am, for real. I have been from the beginning. I was a Houston Comets fan. I'm still mad that there's no such thing as a Houston Comets no more. Story for another time. But yeah, I like the WNBA. I'm a fan of the sport. Okay, cool. I'm also well aware of how business works. So the story with the WNBA right now is that the players have been talking about getting more money, right? Getting paid more money from the league. It looks like they're fighting more for revenue share with the new TV deals and stuff like that. The new things that are on the horizon as the WNBA tries to grow the brand right now while the iron's hot, and therefore hopefully make the one thing that they have not made in nearly 30 years a profit. With that being said, the players have been talking about getting paid more money, and the argument has been from people like myself in particular that you can't pay from a pot that's empty. When the league loses $40 million in a season, you asking for a pay raise, that's crazy talk. Well, anyway, the ladies are asking for a pay raise. In the league offered them, my understanding is they offered them a league minimum of $250,000 per player. So no play. Right now, I believe the league minimum, Kev, correct me if I'm wrong, is like 65 or 66,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So from 60 something thousand to 250,000 as a minimum, as a league minimum. Okay. So the worst player would get paid $250,000, right? The story goes now that the ladies have turned that deal down and called it a slap in the face. Guess this could be a fair or foul thing, huh? All right, Kev, fair or foul? Should the ladies have turned that deal down like they did, or should they have accepted it?
They should have turned it down. And I think I have two feelings. So one, when you're negotiating anything, you like, though there may be a data point for it, you may still feel like, and you should, I'm better than that. I'm worth more than that. My projection is better than that. Off subject, but to my point, like I'm thinking about Terry McLaurin, who is saying, "Hey, I want this new contract. Y'all need to pay me," and they're like, "Well, you are about to be 31, so like this ain't a good time to pay receivers because history has shown us X, Y, and Z fall off after 30." Fair. However, those statistics were also 2 years older. So like in college, he didn't play as much as some of those other receivers that they reference, which means there's less mileage on his legs. And with the worst people at quarterback, he had consistent numbers. And then they only elevated with time with this new person who is dynamic. So like everything I'm showing you is that I'm worth more. So like while you may have your feelings, I know what my trajectory is and I'm gonna bet on that. And I feel like that's what they're doing because the TV shares are going up. Money's gonna go up. Whether it leads to profit or not, it's still going up on that end. And the reason it's going up is because the people spending that money believe in the direction that the WNBA is going. So same thing. Y'all are going to pay us this with the expectation that we're going to do it, that we're going to do this. The players are saying, we want y'all to pay us this because we expect to do this and continue to grow the game. So I would fight for more money with greater belief in myself. And, see where that gets you.
You know what? I kind of side with Kev on there. Not even from the player aspect of the trajectory further on down the line, but also from a marketing standpoint. Like, has the league taken measures to try to increase buzz and increase profitability for the league? Absolutely. So coming from like your star players taking somewhere from like 250,000, would that look like a slap in the face? Absolutely, because that's drops of water in the big bucket for the league. So I gotta side with Kev on that. Show me the money. Show me the money. Um, Projections are one thing, but what's real, what's current, what's in front of your face is another thing. Um, I would have to know what that deal was. Was that a 250 or whatever that minimum was? That locked in for a certain amount of years, forever? I'd have to see what the fine print is on it, because if you go from a 66,000 minimum to a 250 or whatever some odd minimum, um, I don't. To me, that's a stepping stone, and to me, you take that and you build upon that. Like I said, depending on the what's written in that said, contract. Is that something that's like, oh, it's going to be here for the next 25 years or something like that? Because as I said before, things are moving at a faster pace. Yes, the WNBA is growing traction and whatnot. So, I mean, you come to the deal and you counter that offer. All right, we'll take the 250,000 minimum, but here's what we project. We project we're going to be able to get this and that ratings for you. So, in the next, we expect that to go up by a certain percentage every year, for the next whatever. And you counter, and not to say that they haven't, because I don't know what negotiations are doing right now. But the way I see it is as a stepping stone. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go from a janitor to the president of the company. There's some things I got to do. In the place, and not to call them like janitors, not to call them WNBA janitors or whatnot. I mean, in comparison, I guess they're getting paid like them. But I'm just saying, from my point of view, not knowing what the books look like, not knowing what those projection numbers were, what they're looking at, what is the players looking at versus what those people that are crunching the numbers behind the scenes, what projections they're looking at. The way I'm looking at it is a stepping stone. So as long as it's not locking me in for the rest of my career, I'm gonna say, okay, we gonna step this up, because that benefits everybody in the league at $250 some odd $1,000 as a minimum. I think that benefits every player in the league, and then you build build off that. So I mean, again, it just depends on how it was written up.
Projections are not profit. Projections are not profit. I understand the thinking that, hey, there's all this new money on the horizon. I want to make sure I get in on some of that, right? And give me some of that. But the league has lost many franchises in the past. I mentioned the Houston Comets earlier, but they've lost many franchises in the past. So just because they are expanding or bringing back some franchises, while that's a sign of things heading in the right direction, there's no guarantee of any of that. Because another thing that's happening is the WNBA is the most popular that it has ever been. However, their TV ratings, their attendance, all the above got cut dramatically from the absence of one player. One player. Okay? So, if I'm the league, right now, everything looks great. But supposing that one player gets hurt, supposing that one player has a crisis like Michael Jordan did when he retired the first time and decides to retire before their time, quote unquote. Supposing that happens, supposing we haven't quite built the brands up to be able to stand on their own and generate the kind of money that we're talking about. Assume that happens. Let's assume that happens in the next 5 years. Then what? Then we just lose more money. So we're going to give them more revenue. We're going to give whoever it is more revenue off of projection when we have seen all those projections basically go to hell and take a bath as soon as one player isn't on the court. I think I'm with Rich that I think that's a positive in the right direction. Don't get me wrong; they're probably going to get something, right? They're going to get a little bit more in one way or the other. I don't think they're going to get what they're asking for. I think what they're asking for is outrageous. And my understanding is that what they're asking for is, I think it's 20% of the TV revenue share. Like right now, they got 9, right? I don't think they're gonna get 20. I think they'll get a little bit more. So okay, but I'm with Rich. I think you take that carrot, and you prove the projections, and then you revisit and say, okay, now that this has been proven, and now that we know that this is going the way that it's going, we want this percentage. Make it 25, make it 30, whatever. Make up for lost time. That's what you want to do. But I think you take the step. I think them calling it a slap in the face I think that's a little excessive. You got a league that's been bankrupt for the last 30 years. That if it were a men's league or a merit-based league and not, damn near a charity league, it would have already been out of business, like NFL Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I'm the league and I'm trying to actually turn a profit, yeah, I understand you guys want all this extra because the men make all that extra, but you don't. So no.
So let's look at some numbers. When the league first started, right? When the league first started, they started with seven teams, or 8. Okay, they started with 8 teams when they first started, 1997. And then today, they're sitting at 13 teams in the league. All right. Since their inception, they have lost. Of course, they added, but they have also lost 6 teams. So they've lost a total of 6 teams since 1997, which again, that their current number sits at 13. 13 teams in the WNBA, and they are on schedule to add additional teams. I think it's by 2030.
Yeah, it's like 5 more.
18. They're going to have 18.
8 teams? 8 teams?
18
total.
teams total. So 18 teams total by 20.
Oh, so 5 more. Yeah, it's 5 more teams. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So from 97 to 2030, 18 teams is the projection. Okay. The NBA has how many teams, Kevin? How many
30,
teams?
right?
They got 30 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So you so again, I don't think it's necessarily the equality thing is not it. The math isn't mathing when you have 13 teams generating money versus 30 teams generating money. When you have, the numbers are not even the same when you just look at the amount of teams that can generate money for the organization. So I'm just saying, like, it is a numbers game and projections are projections, but you have the ability to negotiate and I think use those stepping stones, and that's just my opinion. You got to use stepping stones, like so. I don't even know what that percentage is as far as the TV deals. What does it look like? Is the league trying to regain money from what's been lost over the years, or I don't know what that looks like, because then, all right, all these players start getting paid, from these 13 teams, these players start getting paid millions of dollars. Is that keeping or putting the league in a deeper hole? And then you have no teams by 2030. Like, what is the math? What is the math?
And I don't know that the WNBA has historical data to be able to prove that they're absolutely going to turn this profit to where paying X amount of dollars more isn't going to result in a net loss for them. They've been operating at a net loss. If it weren't for the NBA's alimony check that they collect every year, if it weren't for that, they'd have been out of business a long time ago. I'm just saying, right? And again, I want them to succeed. I'm not saying scrap the whole league. What I'm saying is, I think that the players need to pump their brakes a little bit. Right? Pump your brakes a little bit. We haven't made a profit yet. Okay, you want more? You want more than 65,000 a year? Okay. Okay. Fine. Cool. 250 is a minimum, because the big players, the big stars, the Asia Wilsons, the Caitlin Clarks when she renews, the Angel Reese when she renews, and all these other, they're not going to stay at 250. That 250 is a minimum. They're going to get paid a lot more than that, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So I don't know. I think the WNBA is probably going to cave and give them more. I just hope that what Rich said, that they don't end up with 0 franchises by 2035 after doing so. I hope that that's not the case.
I just think that more, they need to put in more time. I mean, NBA started when? And, it's taken this long for them to get to where they're at, 30 teams. What the average salary is definitely in the millions. So, I mean, you started in the 90s.
But I think about that part too. But of course, it was a little different. The NBA's inception was quite literally peach baskets and like in a backyard. So there's like stuff that doesn't get factored in to that for some time. And then even their early travel was buses. It wasn't planes, and they weren't like going cross country overnight. So like the start of it was a little rough. Like at a point they were tape delaying games. You know what I'm saying? And so you wouldn't catch them until they felt like showing them. Like you'd learn a day or two later that a team won a championship. It was a wildly different experience. I guess the only thing, like, for us, we get a yearly evaluation and our pay will change, based on a yearly or biannually, whatever, what I'm saying? Like, and there are bonuses, that kind of thing. Like for them, they sign a deal. How long is the deal? 10 years? 7 years?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, when you sign it, like you're locked into that.
I think it's 7 years.
So like you're going to be locked into that for 7 years. Like, and it's kind of how, like I said, it's how NFL players feel. Like you sign that deal, but then like once you outplay that, you want more. They're thinking of the outplaying part. And I don't expect them to think less of themselves. Like, I'm not going into my job like, oh, I'm not going to kill this. Even if it doesn't turn out that way, I'm not going in saying, oh no, give me less, because I'm not going to live up to this.
But you also know your job, and I don't think you're going to go in and demand a number that is, astronomical.
Hell, if I could, I would, because I've far exceeded my job. So I would tell, hey, listen, I've done my job, and I'm gonna keep doing my job.
I would also argue though, Kev, you have an option, right? You know what I'm saying? Like if you said if you were to go to your principal, whatever the process is, right, and say, y'all underpay me, I need this much money, I've done this, and this with this program, y'all need to pay me more, and they was like, hell no, you could just be like, oh, all right, bet I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach or wherever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have an option. Where they gonna go?
Well, actually, they do pretty well overseas. They do pretty well overseas.
Okay, that's fair. Overseas, yeah.
They actually do a little better overseas than they do here. They just the players are here because they want to be in their home country. Word. So like they do better overseas.
Hey, listen, man. If your league here is only what 3-4 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Right. So it's 4 months out of the year. You got 8 more. Right. So yeah. Okay. Cool. You stay here for 4 months. Get your little salary. Right. Go over there. You know what I'm saying? Get your extra bread. Stack up from both. I mean,
I get it, but of course, if you start families and stuff like that, you don't want to have to leave them or move them every 6 months, every 8 months. So they're just essentially fighting to have a life that they can sustain here exclusively. It's like, I wish I didn't have to work 3 jobs just to survive. If I could just do one of those and it sustain me, that would be much better.
I mean, people be sustained on $66,000 a year. I'm just saying.
Listen, I said for whatever reason, I seem much happier making $23,000 a year. It's not sexy though.
You said what now? Say again.
I said I seemed happier making $23,000 a year, but it ain't sexy though.
That's what I'm saying. Like you ain't gonna be able to get much so sexy on 66, 70, 75, 80,000 a year. But let's stop playing like 70, 80, 90,000 a year ain't some money, right? Imagine if you had to work for 4 months for 80,000 a year, 90,000 a year.
Which would be the other part, because they can't just show up on day one of month one in that 4 months. So outside of that, you have to stay in peak physical condition, which costs. So you know what I'm saying?
Get you a gym membership at the YMCA.
It ain't.
You know what I'm saying? Take your ass to running shoes.
Nah, to Kev's point, man, that's meal regimens and they got all types of top of the line like training facilities and trainers and all of that. So physicians. I mean, I get that. Physicians and medical stuff ain't cheap. So
but they're not paying for all that.
I understand that part.
I'm saying to do the extra stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? The way LeBron takes care of his body ain't the way that person 15 on the Wizards take care of their body. Like the 15th man on the Wizards don't. So, you know what I'm saying? So if you want to be able to do that stuff that goes far beyond the trainers at your facility. You know what I'm saying? The hours at your facility. It's, like you said, it's somebody that does your meal prep so that your body's responding the right way. You know what I'm saying? So your dietitian, your physical trainers, like your personal, and having the equipment or space, because you can't show up to Bally's at whatever, and their weights stop at some point, and their machine types stop at some point. You know what I'm saying? So the kind of stuff you need for that kind of physical activity, the taking fouls, the constant back and forth motion, joints and ligaments and all, like, you need a better facility than a run and shoot. God rest run and shoot soul.
Nope, you're muted.
Meet your kid.
I was hoping he was reading to himself, but
yeah, I was reading to myself. All right, so according to Grok, right, average WNBA salary is $147,745. Okay, the average WNBA salary is $147,745. Now I know there's levels to this, because also the way LeBron takes care of his body is the way LeBron can, because everybody don't got LeBron James money, right? The person 15 on the Wizards don't got LeBron James money, so there's gonna be levels to this. I get it. However, are we saying that $147,000 on average isn't enough to take care of yourself and playing overseas for much more money, apparently? Are we saying that that's not enough for meal prep?
I don't know what that looks like.
Are we saying not enough for meal prep and gym membership and a personal trainer?
It depends on where you live.
On that level, and yeah, it does depend on where you live.
I guess if you're in New York, where a studio apartment is $900,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say it ain't going to do for you in New York what it will in Wyoming.
That's fair. That part's fair. That part's fair. And also, to be fair, probably some of that salary is inflated because the higher salaries I know are in like the bigger markets, New York, Minnesota, LA, like that. So I know those are the bigger markets. So that probably also drives up the average revenue. So let's just say it's $100,000. Are we saying $100,000 a year and enough as a meal prep?
Yes.
Is the doctor visits?
Yes.
No, we are. All right. Okay. Okay.
Especially if you got a family relying on that.
Most of them ain't got no family. Two, most of them a lot of them are at the top.
So you say they all orphans playing out there on the field, man? I mean, playing out on the court.
They do have families, man.
They ain't got no family. What we talking about, yo? I'm sorry. Yes, they have like parents, brothers, sisters, cousins.
They have spouses and children.
Yeah. Well, and number two, a lot of them aren't the top breadwinner in their family either.
No, they probably are.
No, they're not.
Or they're both in the league.
What league? If they
the WNBA.
The NBA.
They're dating players.
Salaries irrelevant.
They're dating players in the WNBA.
Well, all right, but like I said, they're not the breadwinner.
No, I'm saying they are. They're both the breadwinners because they both in the WNBA.
Hell no, he's breadwinner if he in the league.
No, I'm saying two women are both in the WNBA.
That doesn't. That's like sleeping with the trans woman.
We live. We live.